So let's begin by recalling this thing called the instance variables. In the case of class movie, there were several of them: title, storyline, poster image URL, and trailer YouTube URL. Now, further recall that these variables are associated with every instance that we create. For example, both Toy Story and Avatar have their own copies of these variables. So I could print out Toy Story storyline, and I could also print out Avatar storyline. Sometimes, however, we need variables that we want all of our instances to share. So consider the variable valid ratings for a movie. This is an array or a list of all possible ratings a movie could have. Now, it would not quite make sense to say, hey, here are Toy Story's valid ratings and here are Avatar's valid ratings. They would essentially be the same for all instances. Thus, this variable is really associated with a class movie and is therefore called a class variable. Let's see it in action. So here is the code for our class movie, and behind this Python file is the other Python file we created, where we made a bunch of movie instances. So I'm going to begin by making changes to my class movie. Now here, I will define a variable called valid ratings. Now notice that this variable valid ratings is defined at the level of the class and is outside the init function. In order to start using this variable, we will begin by saving this file first. So next I'm going to go to my other Python file. By the way, this is the file where we are defining a bunch of movie instances. And here I will scroll down all the way to the bottom and comment out any sort of print or output statements. Now I'm doing this so I can focus primarily on valid ratings. Now here I will try to print out the value of the variable valid ratings by saying print and the name of my class, which is media.movie, followed by the name of the variable, which is valid ratings. There. Let me save and run this program. And boom, there it is, a list of all of my valid ratings. Notice how we use the class name movie to access this variable. This means that all instances of this class movie, Toy Story, Avatar, and others, they can share this list. They can share this list to see if their individual rating is a valid one or not. Okay, so the one last thing I want to do is go back to my class movie. Now notice that the value of this variable valid strings is probably a constant. By that I mean that the value of this variable is probably not going to change every now and then. When we define a constant like this, the Google Style Guide for Python recommends that we use all caps or an uppercase to define a variable like that. I'm going to go ahead and save this file and then go back to my other Python file and change the variable name there as well. Let me save and run this program to see if it still works. And there it is. I get the correct output one more time.